walked out backstage before the show started just to tell her how much I admire her. What you do, what you devote your life to is so admirable. It's amazing. Well, first tell people about the show. It kind of explains it, the title, but tell people about the show.
It's a weekly series on Animal Planet, obviously, and it takes the most maligned breed of dog in the entire world and pairs them up with newly released, convicts from prison. And ultimately, they teach each other, compassion and responsibility and ultimately love. And the dogs don't judge. Dogs don't care if you have a bad past or you have tattoos. They just love you back. And it's the dogs that are ultimately, the magical component in all of this.
Mm-hmm. And that teach each other, actually. The dogs teach the parolees, So how did you start exactly? Tell people how you got to, you have 200 dogs right now?
About 200 to 250 pit bulls we have.
So you started with you rescued one?
About 14 years ago, it was just by chance. I happened to be at a local animal shelter where they brought in a little pit bull from a big crime scene. Mm-hmm. And she was actually the only living thing left on the property, and her name was Tatanka. And she started the whole ball rolling. It was her love for my kids that just warmed me up to the breed.
Yeah, a lot of these dogs, they do have a bad rap because, well, they can be, right? They can be dangerous dogs, because I think a lot of people, no matter how much you portray them to be sweet dogs, which I know that they also are capable of hurting people and animals and...
Well, the thing is, we forget that, Petey from our gang, Spanking Our Gang, was a pit bull. He was the very first pit bull, actually.
Yeah.
And, pit bulls by nature love people. And we forget that who's on the other end of that leash that can make the difference. And, that's what this program teaches. It teaches responsibility, to be a responsible dog owner and a pit bull owner.
Because if they don't have too much damage in their background as far as physical abuse, they can be loving and protective of children and even be with cats and other. The criminals that you hire, what kind of criminal activity are these parolees?
It's everywhere from attempted murder, to check fraud. I do tend to focus on violent backgrounds on these guys because those are the guys we need to get to. We don't hire, sex offenders or anybody with crimes against children or women. I kind of follow the same morals that the guys have in prison. And those are the people we need to get to. If we're going to solve the animal abuse problem, we need to take a step backwards and focus on the people who caused the problem. And with all these tough guys around, I always tell, ultimately the toughest person on my property is really my older daughter. She's the tough one there. She's not even on parole. So,
right.
So she's, sorry.
And they are, you go to these extreme situations where a dog has either been tied to a fence or left in a horrible state where you just can't even imagine that it's going to come back from that and take these dogs in. And how do you rely on donations?
We're a nonprofit, and we do rely on donations. It's a tough sell. We're not exactly, the Timmy and Lassie show. We're dealing with some pretty controversial characters, and so a lot of times people don't really want to give. It's like, you're doing a good job, but no thanks.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a slap upside the head sometimes.
It's hard because you take in how many dogs a day, and how many do you adopt out?
We get hundreds of calls a week to take them. But the outtake number is quite a lot less.
Yeah.
And the show has helped tremendously.
Yeah. Okay, let's bring out a Snorky who needs a home, and then we'll tell you Snorky's. And this is Robert, who works with you as well, right?
This is Robert, one of our newly released guys.
Hi.
Come on, buddy. You got a good voice. Say hi. Thank you, sir.
I have something for you. What about that? All right, so Snorky, how long have you had Snorky?
We've had Snorky for quite a few years. He's 9 years old and doesn't have good table manners. And he was found on Christmas morning, pouring rain on Hollywood Boulevard, and some Good Samaritans opened their car door just to kind of see what was going on, who's this dog, and he just jumped in their car. I didn't give him a minute. And they brought him up to us, and he's been waiting for a home ever since.
So now he's great with children.
Great with kids.
But not other animals.
Not other animals, yeah. He's, typical for the breed sometimes. They're not always great with other animals, but he's been raised, we've had him around a lot of kids.
Yeah.
He might be a good spokes.
Yeah, for Live-A-Littles, well, any dog loves Live-A-Littles, I hate to tell you, but I would use him as a spokesperson for my company. All right, so you have sacrificed a whole lot to run this center. I know that, right?
Yeah, it's, like I said before, it's a tough sell, I can only refinance my house. You're stealing the show there, buddy.
That's going to get you adopted. That's what's going to happen if you sit. I didn't know that. I was not even going to try to make you look foolish, but now if you'll sit like that.
We've refinanced our house like so many times, and it's hard when you've got him now. You've done it. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. Don't look at me.
So you've refinanced your house.
Well, because in this economy, donations are really tough, and
Yeah.
we're trying to expand. We're trying to get the property next door to us, and we're out of refinancing, so we do rely on donations.
Well, we want to. You are too much.
You got to see it from this angle, though. It's great.
I know. This is the most. This dog is so great. I hope you find a home, Snorky.